Let's talk a back squat. This is a video that I could probably do in 20 minutes and still not touch on everything that I want to touch upon. So I'm going to try and be as succinct as possible and just get through the absolute basics. We're going to break it into two main areas, which is loading the bar, what we do in preparation of that, how we approach the bar, etc. Then we're going to chat about the actual technique during the lift. We'll chat a little bit about the dismount. It's not a fucking horse, but you know what I mean, putting the bar back safely. We'll chat about all that sorts of stuff. With the back squat, the reason it's such good exercise is it uses pretty much every single muscle of the body, which means that we can start to build up the weights pretty quickly. Which is obviously a good thing. We want to challenge ourselves, we want to work hard, we want to see the numbers going up. If you compare this to something like a bicep curl, where you're literally using one main muscle and maybe a couple of assistance muscles, with the back squat, you're honestly using glutes, hamstrings, quads, calves as main muscles, and then you've got assistance muscles like your core, your back, your arms, like they're pretty much everything's included. Getting good at back squat is a great place to be for both men and for women, because strength is a fantastic thing to build up, and there's no better feeling than feeling strong. For guys and for women, like this boosts testosterone as well. It's never a bad thing. So anyway, as I said, I could literally bore you on this topic for a long time, but let's just get to the basics. Now, first things first, hand position when we approach the bar. Now, each of us are different. We're all different heights. We've all got different shoulder mobility, etc. So everybody's hand position is going to be slightly different. But what are you looking for here? So for me, my hand position, if we were to look at the lines here on the knurling, my hand position is about sort of a finger's length in of that. That's because my shoulder mobility is quite good, and I can get my shoulders into this narrow position without my wrists bending. They're a little bend there, but I can quickly correct that. And that would be sitting on my back with my wrist, my hand and my elbow pretty much dead in a line. Somebody who's not got as good shoulder mobility, if they were in that position, they might end up with that wrist bent, they might end up with this forward, they might end up like that. There's a lot of different things that can happen. So they might have to go wider in order for them to get that straight position with the wrist and the hand and the elbow. So they might have to come from, like, whereas I'm here and quite narrow, that person might have to come a little bit wider in order to achieve the same thing. When you play about with that and find your hand position, you then, as you approach the bar, when you approach a squat, you want to do the same things each time. It shouldn't be a case that one time you walk up and you do this and you put your hands on and then you're like, well, it should be a case of, like, in your head, right, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. Very methodical. So when I approach a squat, I approach it and I make sure both my hands are in an exact same position, and then they don't move from there. What I see a lot of people do is they'll go under the bar, they'll get the bar on their back, and then they take a step back, and then they start shifting their hands about, doing a fucking disco or something. Like, that's not what we want, because then you don't know if your right hand's further over here, your left hand's maybe narrow, you're then squinting the bottom. Like, it doesn't make sense. We approach the bar, we put our hands in those positions, we then drop under the bar. Now, where does the bar sit? We have literally got a natural padding called our trap muscle, which is where the bar is going to sit. It sits along here. If we bring our shoulder blades back, we can see that that shelf is there. That is where the bar sits. If you've got it higher than that, it's going to hurt. There's a lot of nerves up there. So if it's higher than your trap muscle, that's going to hurt. There is actually an exercise called a low bar squat, where we would sit the bar around about here on the body. I'm not going to go into that just now. It's something that I can maybe touch on later. But for most people, the trap is the position that you would put it on. Now, I know a lot of you, hang on, maybe see these wee pads and think, oh, I'm going to try this wee pad, it won't hurt my neck. So you pop that pad on. Right, that's what, about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. 1.5 inches, that pad's there, right? So where's that bar now in relation to your body? It's 1.5 inches further away, which is making it harder for your shoulders and your arms to be in a good position. It's making it move in terms of your center of gravity. It's now 1.5 inches away from where it should be. It should be on your body or as close to your body as possible. You are literally making it harder by using these stupid pads. So don't ever use them, please. Right, now, we've got our hand position. We drop under that bar. We find our pad. There we go, nice and cushioned. We step up and we step back. From here, we don't go straight into a squat and think, right, I need to squat now. We get into position. We sort our feet out, right? I make sure my feet are in line with each other. I make sure they're pointing in the right direction. And I make sure that I'm happy with that stance. I then turn my knees out ever so slightly, as you should with any squat. From here, I'm now ready to squat. Again, I don't go straight into it. You'll see that my elbows are pointing right back here. I told you that I'd do this, but now I'm doing this. It's because I'm not ready to squat yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a deep breath. And that deep breath triggers my back tightening up, my shoulder blades pushing down, my core squeezing as much as possible, so that to the point that if you imagine somebody punching you in the stomach, that's what you're going to do. You're going to tense everything. So that deep breath triggers me being ready. So it's a nice deep breath. Stand back up. Now, I can get about 2 or 3 reps to one breath. Some of you might not be able to do that. So we breathe out, breathe in. Like so. When we go to put the bar back, we step forward, we check that both sides are on, and then we step out. That is the most basic explanation I can give you on that. I can go more in depth if people want me to, but hopefully that's helped.